I started a new channel. A new channel to tell my story. And partly to keep my sanity. I think you have to talk about, at least I feel like I have to talk about what's going on just to let it out. Because I don't really have any, not to say I don't really, I literally don't have anybody to talk to connect with, to to just express myself. So I figure I guess I'm talking to God, and I'm just telling my story, and I'm journaling it, and putting it down, putting it out. Maybe nobody will hear it. Maybe it'll just be my own record and just my own outlet. So, geez, where to start? It's a long story anyhow, but this is a story. My story is one of like a challenge, a great challenge, very challenging life, and what seems to be a life that's very uncommon to the normal, and very uncommon because I'm almost 50. I'll be getting to be 50 years old, and my experience has really not changed up until now, of going through this life of just being disconnected, totally disconnected with people, and feeling disappointed, let down by my experiences with people. So along with that, I've been dealing with some sort of like some depression. I wouldn't call it like severe depression, the type of depression where people want to end their life. Although there's been times like just recently, it's been so, I don't know, it's just been such a hard time that sometimes the thought comes into your mind like, geez, you just want to just not even exist anymore. But I don't believe I would ever come to that. I've always bounced back, and I've always, tried to stay positive, and I believe the story will have a good ending, or not only just an ending, but it will become better and more inspired, which is why I'm telling the story. But I've had, I don't know, some kind of like sort of like just depression for years, man. It's just like stays with you all the time. You just feel, it just kind of like makes you feel tired and down. It makes you feel like unmotivated, and not being around, especially not connecting, not being with people. You just don't feel to be around people when you're not feeling, when you feel depressed. I think the technical term for it is called dysthymia. When you, dysthymia is like just like a mild sort of depression, but persistent for years, and it can follow you for like what seems like your whole lifetime. And I think I've been experiencing this since I was, I don't know, maybe 14 or 15. At that time, I moved to a different state. My family moved, and I was 12 years old at the time. And I never quite fit into school. I always felt kind of like out of place. Although I tried to make friends and stuff. I mean, I tried to be with the program, but I always felt like sort of like out of it, not really connected with people. And I think from there, at that point, I think this feeling, this sort of depression, I don't know if it was due to the circumstances, but I believe it's not really just the circumstances, but some sort of, maybe I really ultimately my karma. I believe it's your karma that creates your conditions. Your actions, and all your karma is all of everything that you've done, not only in this lifetime but in previous lives. I totally believe in previous lifetime and reincarnation, and it makes sense why things happen to us that sometimes don't seem to have any good reason. I do believe there's a rhyme and reason for everything. There's a universal, balance in the universe. You do something good, you get a good result. You do something bad, you get a bad result. But it takes time. It takes time to fructify the result, just like when you plant a seed. Like Christ said, you shall sow what you reap. So we plant our seeds by our actions in this lifetime and in previous lifetime. And we go from one life to the next, carrying with us our karma. So I believe that's the core of it. The core of the issue is karma. But then you could say, like, you could analyze and say, okay, well, there's some clinical depression is due to maybe some chemical imbalance, some hormonal imbalance, something, some physical or psychological type of imbalance in the body. So you could say that. But I have for years, I'm trying to figure this out, trying to figure some type of form of therapy, some meditation. So I've gotten into spirituality and meditation, and I've tried, diet, nutrition, exercise, all the obvious stuff, trying to positive thinking and all that kind of good stuff, and I think it's all good stuff, but nothing has I haven't had a breakthrough yet where any of these things have really significantly impacted a significant change in how I feel. I've tried antidepressants a few different times. I've gotten prescriptions for antidepressants and they didn't help. The first time I tried it, that's a subject for a whole nother talk. It's a long story, but the first time I tried it was actually pretty amazing. I mean, the first time it had like I totally transformed, like, I think within a few weeks, and I felt like a whole different person. It was kind of like a manic episode. You went from feeling like down, like way down, to feeling way up and having tons of energy and feeling very outgoing. But I didn't want to stay on antidepressants, really. And also I had what I considered to be like a spiritual experience at that time. I kind of discovered my spiritual path and my beliefs, and what I believed was, some sort of a revelation about my life and my connection, my spiritual path at that time. So a lot of things happened at that time when I was 20, and I was on this but I only took it for maybe a month, the antidepressants, and then I figured I would get off of this. I figured I had more of kind of discovered a spiritual path. I didn't want to depend on antidepressants, so I stopped taking them. Years later, I came back, like 20 years later, I thought, let me give this a try again, see if it might help give me a boost. I never really thought of antidepressant medication as like a long-term solution to something, to, that you can stay on for, like, that's going to permanently fix your problem and become dependent on, some people become addicted and dependent and they have a lot of side effects. So I never really wanted to go down that route. I've always tried natural, things, body, mind, and soul, spirituality and meditation and healthy eating and exercising, positive thinking and all that stuff. But here I am, almost 50 now, and I still, like, nothing has really changed. Just I haven't had any breakthrough in my consciousness. It's difficult, there's so many stories out there. There's endless stories of people who have had life-changing experiences. Sometimes people went through a hard time for like a month or something, and then everything started happening for them and their whole life transformed, But my story goes on for, like, now up until 50 years, and still searching for, trying to bring about change and positive transformation. I mean, just starting this year, there was all this talk about the retrograde. What was it? In the year 2021, there was this, what do they call it? The Great Awakening or something like that. This planetary alignment with Jupiter, and there was all this hype about it. And I knew it was probably just mostly hype, but I did actually, from the beginning of this year, I felt like I had a bit of a transformation. I was feeling really good for a while. I had a lot of energy, and I was starting to, like, I thought I made a breakthrough. I thought I was not going to go back to feeling the way that I always have. But it didn't last. It only lasted for like a few weeks or a month. I was getting up really early. I was getting a lot of stuff done. I was feeling really like I had, like, made a breakthrough. But then the last few weeks, it all just, like, I went back to feeling the same way that I always usually do, of just feeling tired. I have been able to get up, though. I didn't get back into sleeping late, but went back to feeling tired and not motivated and feeling very, like, down, feeling very, like, depressed. I've had some experiences with people, some very disappointing experiences with people, I think, which didn't help. all of this sort of happened together at the same time, and I just end up going back to feeling like so like down and tired and depressed. I thought who would want to even listen to this anyhow, this story? Most people don't want to care to hear about someone's life, their problem, whatever. People are watching YouTube for entertainment and fun and getting valuable information, and there's videos that are getting millions of views. I've uploaded videos like this talking about this kind of stuff that never get more than like a few views. That's been kind of disappointing too. Part of me tells me myself I can't be attached to the results. Don't be looking for getting like attention out of this. I'm just doing it mostly for myself, for my own therapy. But then part of me was still kind of like still felt disappointed because I did have a little attachment to the idea of being able to be successful on YouTube and make videos that are helpful not only for myself but for other people, and that you can make a living doing it. That would be ideal. I think that I've always wanted to be able to do that, to have the freedom to like people do when they become successful on YouTube. They have free to travel and do things that they like to do. So I think I've been disappointed in that way, that for some few years I've been uploading videos and it hasn't gone anywhere. Not too many subscribers, and I felt like kind of disappointed about that. I felt disappointed about some experiences that I've had with people that are just more of the same old stuff. Disappointment with people and being sort of dissed by people, not sort of, but just being dissed by people over and over again, many times, so many times that it's very strange. It's almost become like, sometimes it just seems like just a bad dream. The life seems like I'm just stuck in this like bad dream, and I keep repeating the same experiences over with people, and having I just never meet like people that I connect with. Like all the people that I've come across in my life end up being just such a disappointment and frustration in my life, and always ends up just with an unfriendly fallout. And it just any connection that I ever have with anybody ends up getting just fading off and ends up dying somehow. I just don't know. It's hard. It's been hard. It's been hard, but I keep telling myself I have to accept this challenge in life. I have no alternative really. What are you gonna do? You're gonna go. I don't see myself like just going and ending it all. I mean, that's very sad. That's even more depressing to think of that. But I don't know, man. I have to do something, and all I can do is just try to put it into the right perspective and try to vent a little bit by making a video. Try to give myself some therapy by talking about. I have nobody else to talk to about it. I went to a hypnosis one time, and I thought it was a waste of money. I just didn't connect with. I didn't feel there's any benefit in that. I didn't feel like I've ever come across anybody that could really help me, any mentor or any teacher or any therapist or whatever. I don't, and I'm like feel like it's just me. It's just me, and I have to like find it within myself. What is the answer? How do I come out from this? How do I change myself, change my perspective, and awaken to become the person that I want to be and have the life experience that I want. I see people everywhere that everybody has some people that they're with, they have family and friends and community and society and friendship and love and all that. And sometimes I feel really down that I just don't have any connection with anybody. And it's hard, man. It can be hard. But sometimes I think maybe, I don't know, hopefully it's just a blessing in disguise. Ultimately, at some point I'm going to realize the benefit of this hard experience. I try to reason with myself that, difficulties and hardships in life ultimately can be a blessing in disguise if you learn the lessons from them, and somehow spiritually, I think any spiritual growth may not come so easily. It comes through going through these challenging situations in life. This is one of the most challenging situations, is to go through life like not having any really support from people, not having a community, not being part of a group, or not having people that that you connect with. All right, well, I'm gonna conclude it with that. To be continued in the next video. I mean, my vision here is to see this through. Even though it's a long road, I'm almost already 50 now. I'll be turning 50, and I feel like I gotta make a breakthrough here. So let's see what happens. Thanks for listening. Thumbs up would be appreciated. So have a nice one.